Hi, this is my weekly market update for March 7th, 2015. Have a weekly chart of the S&P 500 index. You can see on Friday we pulled back after the deep blowout jobs numbers were released. People thinking that the Fed may start hiking interest rates a little earlier than expected. The June meeting, you can see we're starting to pull back towards the solid blue line in the center, which represents it's a 15-week moving average. You can see early December into January had a period of weeks where the market met a lot of resistance at that line. So expect next week for us to possibly pull back, and that could represent a good buying opportunity. Okay, next up we have a weekly chart of the Nasdaq index. Here you can just see it also pulled back. However, it's holding up a lot better than the broader S&P 500 index. Expect next week that it could possibly pull back to the red line, which represents the prior breakout zone. Okay, next up it's a heat map of the sectors in the financial markets. Utilities, abysmal performance, one of the worst sectors. Healthcare was the best sector last week. Okay, next up is a monthly chart of utilities, and you can see it's really terrible performance the last month or so, especially this week. And you can see we're currently resting on the 15-month moving average. So this might be an interesting opportunity for long-term investors who want to get into utilities. Okay, now I'm switching to a daily chart of the utilities. You can see on Friday we failed the 200-day moving average. It's the magenta line on the chart. However, it is upward sloping, so we've seen this many times where there's been false breakdowns, then buyers have stepped in and pushed price back up. So I'm going to keep this on my watch list for next week. May present an interesting buying opportunity. You can also see the RSI below. It's extremely oversold reading. And in the past, when the RSI was this low, you got a decent week or a multi-week bounce. Okay, next up is a weekly chart of the Joe Coffee ETF, and this is a very volatile instrument, so you never want to be too aggressive with this stock. You can see it's currently closed below the lower Bollinger Band. It's formed a candlestick, a hammer candlestick on the weekly chart. And you can see that it's really buyers have really stepped in at the price area by that red line. You could see earlier, going way back to 2014, that was an area where the ETF really took off and pretty much almost doubled in price in a short span of a few weeks. So I'll be watching this next week as well. Okay, next up it's a weekly chart of the consumer goods sector ETF. This caught my eye as well. We got a nice pullback to the 20-week moving average. You can see late December, January, there's a period of time where we got a couple nice bounces off of that moving average, so I'll be watching this next week too. Okay. Finally, I'll be watching Baidu. It's one of my current trades. I got in last Monday, currently up around 5%. It's an interesting entry point because it was you can see from the chart, it's a weekly chart. It was both got in around the lower Bollinger Band. It was also the 50-week moving average. So I plan on holding this trade a couple of weeks at least. Probably going to move up my stops from the prior week just to take out some of the risk. You can follow me on Twitter at DeconstructMad, where I post entries and exits as well as provide daily updates.